I thought CNN was supposed to be heading in a new direction. I thought CNN was supposed to be changing. I thought CNN was trying to be more appealing to normal people. For the better part of a year, that was the message that we heard from former CNN President Chris Licht, better known here on the channel as Chris the Bongo Licker. Last month, the newest leader to take charge of this dump, new CNN President Mark Thompson, he sent a video message to the collection of huge embarrassing failures who are collecting woke welfare from this network. Mark Thompson told his group of embarrassing failures, conventional television can no longer define us. Now, I'm not entirely sure what Mark Thompson meant by that. Judging from the clip that I'm about to share with you guys, I think it is abundantly clear that CNN is not targeting a conventional audience. And when I say conventional audience, I'm talking about normal people, people with jobs, the husband and wife raising their children, the retired couple that has been married for decades. It is abundantly clear to me we are not CNN's target audience. The network seems to be going after Jake and his emotional support rake. CNN is trying to appeal to Bob with the removed knob and Bill, who prefers to be called Jill. You know, CNN used to have respect. They used to have credibility. This network used to have prestige. But today, CNN is an absolute disgrace. This network is an embarrassment. MSNBC is garbage, but at least NBC puts in the extra effort to polish their turd. At least they toast the bread before serving the shit sandwich, while CNN seems to be content with serving their viewers the unthawed wiener. How many of you guys are familiar with Rabbi Jessica Rosenberg? Anyone? Anyone? Huh. Okay. Allow me to give you a proper introduction. Ooh, tantalizing. According to the bio, the rabbi was born and raised on Lenape land, or what the rest of us refer to as suburban Philadelphia. Currently, the rabbi is residing on Dakota land, which is home to the Anishinaabe. I apologize if I am mispronouncing that. I'm not too familiar with the terminology here, mainly because every map I have ever seen doesn't refer to this land as Dakota land. According to Google Maps, the land the rabbi is referring to is called Minneapolis. Now, I have been to Minneapolis, Minnesota before. Beautiful city, beautiful city. Matter of fact, I spent an entire week there in January. You know how many times I heard the locals refer to Minneapolis as Dakota land? None. I'm not sure where the rabbi is getting this information. Perhaps Jessica Rosenberg identifies as a guardian when not leading the synagogue. Now, I'm sure all of you guys are well aware of the conflict going on in Israel. I don't watch much cable news. I prefer to get my news from people who actually know what they're talking about. But sometimes when I'm working, I'll have one of the big three cable news networks on TV just for background noise. Over the past 6 weeks, it has been wall-to-wall coverage of the conflict in Israel. The networks bring on these experts to explain to us plebes what's going on. And to be fair, some of these experts are actually credible. They know a hell of a lot more about the Middle East than some dumbass like myself. But with the big three of CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC battling for rating supremacy, the networks are competing with each other to offer viewers the best coverage of the war. With ratings in the pooper, CNN decided to hire a legitimate expert to provide unique coverage of the conflict in Israel. Rabbi Jessica Rosenberg. How much experience does the rabbi have covering military conflicts? From what I can tell, none. Has the rabbi been on the ground in Israel? But that's okay. That's okay. CNN, they were looking for different qualifications. You see, CNN decided that the rabbi was qualified because Jessica Rosenberg checked multiple woke boxes. Obviously, the T in LGBT was checked, but more importantly, the rabbi was willing to push the narrative that CNN wanted to be pushed. Since Israel used their military to retaliate against Hamas, deacons at Woke United Methodist, they have been calling for a ceasefire. It reminds me of the bully in middle school Every morning on the way to school, the bully steals the nerd's lunch money. He emasculates the nerd. He embarrasses the nerd in front of their classmates. This bullshit goes on for weeks. Until one day, the nerd finally strikes back. He starts beating the bully's ass, and in the middle of the fight, the bully starts begging for a ceasefire. Please, please stop kicking my ass. I didn't mean to attack you. It was my upbringing. The government cut off my food stamps. It's everyone's fault but my own. Since the start of the conflict in Israel, CNN has been pressuring Israel to stop retaliating. Now, of course, that narrative is falling on deaf ears, just like here in America. The people of Israel, they don't watch CNN either. Executives at CNN, they decided that they needed a voice that would appeal to the Jewish people. They needed a voice that Jewish people could relate to. So, in their infinite wisdom, they hire Jessica Rosenberg. Yesterday morning, the esteemed rabbi appeared on CNN This Morning, the show that used to be hosted by Donnie and his Lemons. This show was also the launching pad for the failed television career of Caitlin Collins. Katie Roo! Katie Roo! If you happened to wake up at 6 o'clock yesterday morning and turned on CNN so you could go back to sleep, you were introduced to the beautiful face of Rabbi Jessica Rosenberg. Now, obviously, you would be in a state of confusion here. With a name like Jessica, along with a beard provided by Just for Men, you would think that Jessica Rosenberg was a WNBA dump diver, not a rabbi in a Jewish synagogue. The rabbi had a clear message for our fearless leader, Johnny B. Biden. Johnny B., military conflict is not the answer. We need peaceful solutions, unless, of course, we are fighting mythical racism. In that case, the solution is always looting high-end stores and defecating on police cars. Watch for yourself.
What would you say to the president now?
I called for a ceasefire, and I continue to call for a ceasefire because we cannot bomb our way to peace. We need a political solution, not a military solution.
You know, I didn't know that CNN stood for the Comedic News Network. I must have missed the memo. I didn't realize the changes that Mark Thompson was making at CNN was to take the network in a comedic direction. If so, they're off to a great start. Not only is Jessica Rosenberg a rabbi, Jess is one hell of a comedian. I called my emotional support goat and demanded a ceasefire. I'm sure the rabbi called for a ceasefire. There's just one problem. No one answered the phone. No one gives a shit about some rabbi who is dressed as a woman sporting a beard and their calls for a ceasefire. I did some digging into Jessica Rosenberg. The rabbi works for an organization called Bend the Arc Jewish Action. According to their website, the organization is a movement of progressive Jews who are fighting for equality. Translation? Woke United Methodist. The organization wastes their time fighting all of the great myths in America, like white supremacy and racism. Now, who are their enemies? Who are they engaging in combat in this mythical fight? The website doesn't go into detail. If I had to guess, they don't go into details because there are no details to be provided. They can't find an enemy to fight. Organizations that engage in these mythical conflicts, they need one thing to survive: money. Even though low-level shitfucks claim to be fighting the good fight, preaching the good word, and spreading their twisted ideology through activism, at the end of the day, it is a job. These people are not working for free. Imagine my surprise when I found out that Bend the Arc is being funded by George Soros. Shocker. But you heard in the clip, Jessica Rosenberg was sending a clear message to John Biden. As it turns out, the rabbi has somewhat of a checkered past with our fearless leader. A while back, Jessica Rosenberg was attending a Democratic fundraiser. Now, I'm assuming the event was put together to raise money for the soon-to-be failed campaign of John Biden. Now, most people attend these events to pay thousands of dollars for dinner that consists of the supersized cucumber as an appetizer and the grilled woke wiener as the entree. But on this particular evening, Jessica Rosenberg was not hungry. The rabbi attended the event to heckle John Biden during his speech. As a result, the rabbi was removed from the premises. This is the expert. that CNN put on international television to send a message to the Jewish people and John Biden. Is it any wonder why ratings at CNN remain in the pooper? Remember last year when Don Lemon was being blamed for low ratings at CNN? You guys remember that? They blamed Donnie. They accused him of tanking the ratings in prime time. They moved him to CNN this morning, what he called a promotion, where he replaced bitter Breonna Kyler. Donnie was drawing 350, 400,000 viewers. He eventually gets fired, with low ratings being one of the main reasons for his termination. Now, that was 7 months ago. What are the current ratings for CNN this morning? Past 2 months, the show averaged 377,000 viewers. In other words, Donnie wasn't the problem. Remember over the summer when CNN was touting Caitlin Collins as their savior in prime time? Katie Woo! Katie Woo! Donnie had his lemons squashed for drawing 800,000 viewers in prime time. Last week, Rue averaged 597,000. Over the last 12 to 18 months, CNN has constantly rotated their host. Now, of course, the regulars have remained on the network. CNN is never going to get rid of proven huge embarrassing failures like Jake the Bongo Tapper, Andy Cooper, and Wolf Blitzer. Woof, woof. But they have rotated hosts around these proven failures, hoping someone, anyone, would resonate with the audience. It ain't working. Part of the problem is the audience that CNN is trying to resonate with makes up a very, very small portion of the overall American population. You want to know what the biggest problem is at CNN? The biggest problem at this dump is the fact that executives, they refuse to acknowledge the biggest problem. CNN has been 100% infected with the woke fungus, and the only way to solve that problem is to completely eradicate the fungus. Executives at CNN, they're not willing to do that. Like I told you guys before, when Chris the Bongo Licker took over, it was not enough to fire the donut diva Brian Stelter. It was not enough to let go of old woke white men. CNN needed to be cleansed from the inside out. And executives, they just refuse to cleanse the network. And now, I think it's too late. CNN does not have any credibility left to lose. This network is a disgrace, and once you have that reputation, it's just damn near impossible to change the perception. At this point, I don't think there's anything CNN can do to save the network. But give me your thoughts. CNN brings on a transgender rabbi to send a clear message to Joe Biden and the Jewish community. Do you think that was disgraceful? Do you think anyone took this seriously? At this point, do you think CNN can be saved? Is there any way to restore credibility to this network? I think it's too late, but what about you? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate every one of you guys and your continued support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.